welcome back to Andrea Gamera Coaching and NoPainAllGain.ca. Today we're going to discuss managing fibromyalgia flare-ups. So, being able to manage my fibromyalgia flare-ups is like stepping back into the sunshine again. When the pain becomes unbearable, we need tools to help us bring the pain under control again. It never ceases to amaze me how much pain I am willing to live with if it makes my life easier. Fortunately for me, none of my family members has any issues with allergies or chronic illness, so they can eat whatever they want, which makes life easier for cooking. But cooking for one when you have a specialized diet is not so much fun when you get to have to watch them eat whatever they want, and you'd kind of like that too. But what I've realized over my recent flare-up is that it's really necessary for me to stay on the diet, keep up with my exercising, so that I can keep my flare-ups under control. Because the brain fog goes away, I can be much more productive when I stay on course. So here are my tips for managing fibromyalgia flare-ups, and I hope you find them helpful too. So here are my 5 tips for getting my FM under control, and I know they can help you too. Number 1, controlling your dietary inflammatory triggers. 2, checking your water levels. Return to your exercise regime. Check your sleep patterns and reevaluate your schedule. So let's start with controlling your dietary inflammatory triggers. The number 1 thing that I have found to do for managing my fibromyalgia flare-ups is controlling the inflammatory triggers that set me off. And this means, of course, my diet. Whether we like it or not, the most common inflammatory agent for chronic illness is food. And of course, that means our diet. So you don't have to be allergic to a food to set it off. Just being sensitive to it can cause a lot of damage, and that's why the food sensitivity category was created. And that makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, when you're allergic to something, and in Canada, to be given in a diagnosis of being allergic to something, it would have to be something that would kill you. So if you were allergic to it, it would kill you. Anybody who's had an anaphylactic reaction to peanuts, where your entire body starts shutting down and you can't breathe and you're swelling up, I mean, you just have to go through that once and survive it, to know that you never ever want to be near that substance again, because you don't ever want to go through that again. But with food sensitivities, it's a lot more mild. It's not going to kill you, it's just going to really irritate you a lot. Like for me, having pineapple that makes my lips go all fuzzy, and yeah, it's not going to kill me, but it does bug me. And citrus, that just makes my acids go crazy, which is never a comfortable situation. So with some foods, you just know if you have them what the response is going to be. Like for me, I'm gluten intolerant, so if it's got wheat or gluten in it at all, or been made in a factory with that, I can't even swallow it. And I might get the first mouthful swallowed, but it gets harder and harder to swallow. And so I have to have a lot of fluids, whether it's water or juice, something to drink, in order to wash it down, which again is kind of counterproductive, because once it gets into my body, it's going to cause even worse things. The pains in the muscles, the joints, the brain fog. It's not fun. It's not pretty. So we need to be really careful about getting rid of those inflammatory triggers. You know, when you're eating out, it's really not easy, because you don't know what other people are making their foods with, when you're in a grocery store, you can check all the labels and you know what to take off the shelf and what not. But when you're at a friend's house for dinner or at a restaurant, you can't exactly go back and ask the chef every single thing they've put in there and what else they've made on the menu that might affect it. So you just have to be as careful as you can in those situations, and then eat as clean as possible when you're at home. So the problem with fibromyalgia and chronic illness is that your body can take a little bit of these inflammatory items for a little while, but over time they build up. And when that happens, then they get to this tipping point, and that's what causes your flare-ups. So you need to be, and your body's just not going to tolerate them anymore. And that's where you have to decide what kind of pain tolerance you're willing to live with. So this is your body's response to you not listening to all the previous warnings. It makes the pain so unbearable that you know you have to do something, and that's kind of where I am right now. I have an anti-inflammatory diet that I know works really well, but it's not easy when the rest of my family doesn't need to eat that stuff. And they don't mind for a little bit, but over time they want a little bit more variety. And so, but at this point, I know I have to go back to it because I know how I felt when I had been on it for 6 months straight. My fogginess in my brain went away. I could think, I could reason, I could come up with great ideas, I could laugh again. The pain was gone, the stiffness, I could move, I could function, I could keep up with my teenage kids. I mean, it is amazing what this can do when you stick to it. And so I realized that that's what I had to do now. I had to go back on this diet. So I am in the process. I'm been a couple of weeks into it now. And we've had some birthday parties, so I have been very strict with it. But I will be going forward into Christmas because I really want to be back on my game by Christmas time. So this is just one of the ways that's really that I use to reduce the pain. And honestly, when you stick to it for over 6 weeks, your pain will be pretty much gone. And it sounds like a bold statement, but it is true. And I am looking forward to when I can be at that point again. And one of the interesting things is that when you get your pain under control, so for me, I get pain in my hand, I get pain in my hips. Once I get that all under control and the pain is less, I can sleep better at night because I'm not waking up having to shift constantly because of the pain in my hips. So getting control, getting the inflammation in the body under control is just a huge step forward to moving on to the next thing. So what are common food triggers that you may want to avoid if you haven't been assessed yet for allergies and food sensitivities, which I really hope that you go and do, because then you have a really great framework for the things that you may not have realized are tripping you up. So common food triggers. For FM and chronic illness, most grains, wheat, corn, and rice. These are the big three because there's been so much modification on them, adding other things to them to make them grow faster, be stronger, the pesticides, other things that they use on them. So wheat, corn, and rice, those are really big triggers. Cooking oils. You don't actually have to cook with oils. You can use water to cook most of your things. If you're sauteing stuff, softening them up, you can just use water. You don't need to use oil at all. But if you want to, just be very, 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 very careful with the amount you use and the kind of oils that you want to use. Meats happen to be a really big trigger for inflammation. So then you get your fried foods and artificial trans fats because they're cooked in oil. They changes their composition, and that can be a major trigger for you. Artificial sweeteners are a huge one for me. Foods high in carbohydrates, well, those usually contain your wheat, your rice. Glutamate, really big one for me. Sugar, preservatives, dairy products. So all of these happen to set me off. And unfortunately, all these foods are a big part of food production in North America, if not around the world. So looking at this list, you may think, I can't eat anything, but that's simply not true. The inflammatory diet that I follow comes from the Autoimmune Plant-Based Cookbook, which is recipes to decrease pain, optimize health, and maximize your quality of life. And it's created for the Med Missionary Program, of which I am a graduate, so I am certified in teaching and coaching people on how to use this diet and optimize their health. So this cookbook provides comprehensive meal plans based on very tasty recipes. They're easily adjustable if you happen to be allergic to things that are in them. So if you are sensitive or allergic to them, you just don't include them. And I can also help you find things that you can substitute if you would like. So when you have a flare-up, look back at what you have eaten that you know you shouldn't, or that is something you don't usually eat. So if you don't know what you're sensitive to, you can get testing done to find out what you're allergic to and sensitive to, and most naturopathic doctors can get that arranged for you. Another way is to eliminate the most common triggers for about 6 weeks, and then one by one introduce them back and see how it affects your body. And so you will know right away if you are sensitive to something once you reintroduce it. And then you just stop, find a substitute for it, do something else. But make sure you bring them out one at a time so that you are absolutely positively sure that that was a thing that you shouldn't be having. So once you know what your triggers are, eliminate them from your diet. Your pain levels will reduce so quickly you will be amazed. Somehow I always convince myself that going back on the diet is not going to have that big of effect, but believe me, it does. Even after day 3 of going back on the diet full time, I was amazed at how much my pain had reduced. So, you know that old adage, you are what you eat? It couldn't be more true. The next one is to check your water levels. So our bodies are 80% water. So when we don't drink enough water to replace what we expel, we become dehydrated. And when your body doesn't have enough fluids for your vital organs, then it will pull it from your muscles and joints. And when it pulls it from your muscles and joints, then your joints start rubbing on each other, your muscles start to hurt. And so that is what is causing a lot of our pain with FM and chronic illness. So the best thing you can do is make sure you're getting 8 8-ounce glasses of water per day. So I track mine on my schedule. I put a little water droplet on each day until I have reached my 8 glasses. Now, this has to be pure water. This does not include your flavored waters, your smart waters. The minute they start putting something else in there to make it taste a little bit better, they're introducing artificial flavorings, colorings, and things that are going to set off your body and cause you the inflammation. So you say, I don't like to drink water. Well, learn to. Seriously, learn to. It's only your body. You only get one that you get from birth till death. So decide how you want to live in that body. Do you want to be in pain all the time? Or do you want to be as healthy as you possibly can? Well, drink water. And it has to be just water. If you have tea, coffee, juice, milk, whatever else throughout the day, that does not count for that little drop of water that you're going to be putting into your schedule and keeping track of. It needs to be water, because it's the water that your body knows how to use to its utmost. The also important thing about water is to have a little bit of Celtic sea salt with it. Just 1 grain, if you can get the grain size, not the really refined small stuff. You just put 1 of those little chunks of salt under your tongue, drink your glass of water, and it will help you not be going to the bathroom every 10 minutes right after you drink a glass of water. It'll make that little bit of salt is essential for getting the water into the cells where it's needed. Because without that exchange, the water's not going to where it needs to be. So if you're finding that you're going to the bathroom too much, just 1 little grain of the Celtic sea salt. It cannot be iodized salt, the regular table salts. That stuff is no one should be eating that stuff. You can use it to shrivel up snails. You should not be putting it in your body. But Celtic sea salt, Himalayan red salt, pink salt, that is good as well. And just a tiny little bit. You don't need a lot. And you know what? It actually changes the flavor of the water too. It makes it almost sweeter, but it just definitely makes it easier to drink. And with that, you're going to find, just by getting enough water so that your joints aren't rubbing on each other and your muscles are fully hydrated, you will be amazed how this step takes away the pain as well. Major footnote that I need to add to this: do not drink 8 glasses of water at once. There is something called water poisoning. It can kill you. So what I do, some say only drink half a glass of water and then half an hour later I drink the other half, or drink that 1 glass of water throughout the hour. But what I do, I get up in the morning, I drink 2 glasses of water when I get up, with that little bit of salt for the first glass. I usually don't need it for the glasses after that. But you've been fasting. You have been probably asleep for 8 hours or more, and in that time you've had no fluids. So having that 2 glasses as you're getting breakfast ready is really, really essential to get your body rehydrated. It'll help wake you up, and then after that, every hour after that, I'll drink another glass of water until I've hit my 8 glasses of water. And usually you can be done by about 6 or 7 o'clock at night, so that you're not having to run to the bathroom through the night to get rid of the extra fluid. And once your body gets used to having the water it's going to tell you when you know it doesn't. You know, sometimes when we think we're feeling hungry, it's not our body telling us we're hungry. It's actually telling us we need water. So when you feel that thing of like, oh, I'm really hungry, have a glass of water first, then give yourself about 15 minutes, and then if you're still hungry, then go find something healthy to consume. But usually it's just your body saying, just a minute here, I need a little bit more water, I'm running dry, and then that can really help you as well. At first I even set an alarm on my phone to go off every hour to remind me to drink water. But after doing that for a few days, I don't even need the alarm anymore, because my body will be just like, oh, time for water. And I can recognize it very, very quickly. And surprisingly, it is almost on the hour that I need more water. So yeah, it's really amazing how God created our bodies, and how truly amazing our bodies are, how they can heal itself when it's given the right conditions. And water is an essential part of that healing process. So the next big step is to return to your exercise regime, whatever that may be. And it might seem counterproductive because, fibromyalgia, chronic illness, fibromyalgia makes you feel very stiff, you don't want to move. Chronic illness, you're so tired all the time, you really don't want to move around, you want to conserve your energy. But exercise is extremely important for both, because you need to keep your body moving. So whether you walk, bike, swim, dance, play sports, do aerobics, Pilates, ballet, whatever it is that you find enjoyable and is not too much shock or to your body, then that's what you need to do. It's just essential to keep the flare-ups at bay. When I can't go more than 2 days without doing my exercise routine. I did create actually recorded my FM routine that I do. It's got Pilates, ballet, stretching, a little bit of aerobics, not too much, nothing that's really bouncing or jarring, because for FM that's really not very helpful. But I came up with this routine. Really helps keeping me flexible and moving. And as I said, if I skip more than a couple of days, my body starts complaining and I know I have to go back to it. So I will link that below where you can find that. It's also on YouTube. One of the first videos I actually posted. There's a beginner, medium, and advanced. It's the same routine. It just increases the reps, and you can choose whichever one you are ready for and then move on to the next one whenever you want. So again, I'll put that in the comments below so that you can check those out if you're looking for some routine to help you get moving again. So if you've had a flare-up and you haven't been able to exercise, don't worry about it. Just start again. go slowly. Just go for a walk at first. Just keep moving until you're able to get yourself up to where you were before. The other great thing is to get yourself outside, and that's really great for walking, some outdoor sports. When you get outside, you get the fresh air and and oxygen, sunshine. It's really, really important, because even the sunshine helps build your vitamin D, which helps you sleep better at night. When you can sleep through the night, you have a better day the next day. It's all interconnected. It's amazing how God created us and our environment to give us optimal health when we use it appropriately. And the fresh air, it oxygenates your cells so they can function at their best levels. And so get yourself outside, even if it's gardening or sitting outside in the sunbeam, just going for a walk, puttering around. It has an amazing effect for reducing your flare-ups. The next one is to check your sleep patterns. Lack of sleep will cause flare-ups. Your body heals itself while it sleeps. So if you're not getting a good night's sleep, your body's not being able to heal itself, regenerate cells, remove the dead ones. So sleep is vital. It's also very helpful for losing weight, because if you're sleeping through the night, you're not going to be eating, for one, but also you're fasting. So your body, if it wants more nutrients, it has to go find it from within itself. So that's how it also helps you lose weight, is if you get a good 8-hour sleep and a regular pattern, regular schedule. It's going to help your body heal itself, and it's going to help you lose weight. Now, also very important to mention is that the 4 hours before midnight is better than the remaining 7 after it for helping your body heal and get the rejuvenating effects of a good night's sleep. So yeah, most of us are not going to be going to bed at 8 o'clock at night. Some of us are if we want to be up really, really early. But as long as you're in bed by 10, so you even get that 2 hours before midnight, really, really beneficial to improving your health and having a better next day, feeling well. If you go to bed at 10 o'clock at night and then sleep 8 hours, so you could be, if you're 10, that's going to put you at about 6 or 7 in the morning, you're going to feel so much more rested than if you went to bed at midnight and slept till 10. Honest, it just is. It's counterintuitive, but that's how it works. So try to be in bed by 10 o'clock at night if you can. Earlier, 9 o'clock is even better, but 10 p.m., try to make that the time you go to bed so that you can get a really good night's sleep and your body can rejuvenate itself. Okay, so the next big step, reevaluate your schedule. One phrase I've always hated hearing from my doctor is, just reduce your stress level. Yeah, right, and how exactly am I supposed to do that? Interestingly enough, they never really had a good answer beyond just don't be stressed. So what I found is that there are things in life that are inherently stressful, and you can't just stop living in order to be less stressed. What you can do, however, is reduce the amount of stressful things you do in a day. And more importantly, you can decide what you're going to allow yourself to be stressed out by. I know that sounds a bit strange, but the simple decision to not allow something to stress you out anymore is actually possible. So when you are feeling stress and anxiety coming on, something that you can ask yourself is this really going to kill me? Most of the times the answer to that question is no, it's not. So then you can tell yourself, well, if it's not going to kill me, then I don't really need to be stressed out about it. I may not like doing it, but I don't need to be stressed out about it. I will do it so I can get it over with, and then it'll be done. And it truly is that simple. I struggled with depression and anxiety, and using this method has been very, very helpful in reducing my anxiety. If I saw people that I'd had issues with in the past, or thoughts came back from the past to haunt me, I could just say, you know what? Is this really going to kill me? Is this really going to happen? And what is the worst thing that could possibly happen here? And is that going to kill me? And then one, it would stop the spiraling of the anxious thought. But then my brain could then kick in the logical part that doesn't like to come out very often. It could then kick into gear and go, you know what? Chances are that's not even going to happen. So I don't really need to be stressed out about it. Let's just get it done. And you'll be amazed what a difference that can make for your life. So when you're creating your schedule, don't overpack it. If you know there are 2 things in that day that are going to really stress you out, try to spread them out into other days. So you're only having one really stressful thing per day. Or take a look at those things and start giving yourself some positive affirmations and really think them through and go, what am I really worried about here? Why does this stress me out? And is that really reasonable? And then you may find very quickly that the things that stress you out are becoming less and less and less. And that is very, very good for your body to not be stressed out, because it creates cortisol levels that are not good for your body to function under. So try the method of the thought. There's 2 thoughts actually. The one is this going to kill me? And the second question, so what? So what if it does happen? And the so what also gives you a chance to choose a couple of options of how you can react if it does happen. And then, if it does happen, your body's all ready to deal with it, and you don't have to feel like you have to protect yourself anymore because you know how you're going to get out of that. So when flare-ups happen, look back at your schedule and see if you've been overdoing it a bit. The problem with FM is that sometimes you feel like you can move mountains, so you try to just crush everything you possibly can into the day to take advantage of that awesome feeling. But when I do that, the next day, I crash. Guaranteed. So make sure you're balancing out your day so you're not overdoing it and you're not underdoing it. Just try to keep it balanced so that you can live more comfortably day to day. So in conclusion, managing fibromyalgia flare-ups is very possible when you have the right tools. So by controlling your dietary inflammatory triggers, checking your water levels, returning to your exercise regime, checking your sleep patterns, and reevaluating your schedule, you will be pain-free again. I can speak from experience in this because I know all these things work. So when you are ready to be pain-free again, contact me at andrea@nopainallgain.ca and we can make you a master at managing your fibromyalgia flare-ups. So thank you for joining me today. You could have been anywhere, but you chose to be here with me, and I am so very grateful for that. So if you like this material, please like and subscribe. It helps the algorithm get it out to other people that could benefit from this information. So I hope you have a wonderful week. I hope you understand what an incredible child of God you are and how much He loves you, what an incredible person you are, and how the world just wouldn't be the same without you. So I hope this has been helpful. We'll see you next time. Bye for now. So did you know that working with a one-on-one coach can help you break through the issues that are holding you back and preventing you from going after your dreams? Well, that's what I do. I help people that are being held back by many, many things in their life. It could be their health. It could be thoughts that just keep coming back from childhood trauma or just day-to-day life, so that they don't feel that they can go after their dreams. So if you think you could use some help with this, please reach out to me at andrea@nopainallgain.ca, and I would be very happy to set up an appointment with you, a free consultation to see if working with me would be a good fit for both of us. So have a wonderful week. I wish you all the best, and we'll see you next time.